Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us this evening for the Parent Hour. Again, this is the Parent Hour for the returning to campus and the updates on policies and procedures. So certainly lots of questions, I am sure. What I want to do is a couple of introductions. I am going to peek over. I see a question already. No, you are certainly not the only parent. We have about 25 to 30 families that have joined us, so we are very excited about that. So thank you to everyone. So let me get started. My name is Julie Spring. I'm the Associate Director for the Center for Student Success. And I have the pleasure of working with all of these folks in organizing things such as the Parent Hour. So it's exciting for me. This is our first one for the spring semester. So bear with us as we get our bearings and make sure that everything is set, but everybody looks like they're ready to go. So what I would like to do is take a minute and let everybody else introduce themselves so you'll know who's joining us this evening. So Jill, if you want to lead us off, that'd be great.
Good evening. My name is Jill Engel-Hellman, and I'm the Director of Residential Life. Look forward to talking with all of you this evening.
Thanks, Jill. Katie, you want to introduce yourself real quick? Uh-oh. Can anybody else hear Katie? Because I can't hear Katie. Is that just me? Kenna, would you like to introduce yourself real quick while Katie adjusts with that?
Sure. Can you hear me? Great. Hi, everybody. Kenna Grant, Executive Director for Student Health and Wellbeing, and I work in the Dean of Students Office, and I am a part of our COVID response team. So in the event that your child has to be isolated or quarantined, I help coordinate that process on campus with a lot of other people. Welcome.
Excellent. Thank you, Kenna. I see Kaz has joined us. Kaz, did you want to introduce yourself real quick?
Hi, I'm Kaz. I'm the Chief for the Department of Public Safety.
Thank you, sir. Nice to have you with us this evening. And Megan, did you want to jump in and say hello real quick? You're muted there, Megan. There you go. I think I was able to unmute you, so give it a shot. Unfortunately, we're still not getting your audio there. No worries, we'll figure it out. Let me introduce Megan really quickly because Megan actually is going to be our behind the scenes helper tonight anyway, so I'm going to jump in for her. Megan is our Director of Strategic Communication over in the Office of Marketing and Communication. She has been kind enough to offer to work with us this evening to do the Q&A and make sure that all of your questions are answered. So certainly what we would like to do is give you a little bit of information about how you can ask those questions. So if you're looking at your screen, if you look at the lower right-hand corner, you will see that there is a Q&A block. What you can do is you can hop right in there. You can ask questions. If you want to do it in the chat, that's fine as well. But I think Megan will really be focusing on those Q&A questions down there. So certainly we will also be looking at them and seeing if we can answer them verbally if need be. And you may get a lot of information just by listening to what the presenters have to say. But she will also be making sure that you leave with all the answers that you might need. So we will get back to Katie when she's able to hop back on. She might be having a little connection issue. So as soon as we get her back, then we'll make sure she gets introduced as well. But in the meantime, Jill, did you want to get us started and take it away?
Julie, I think you can hear me.
Oh, we can. Megan, go ahead.
Great. Sorry. I'm sorry, everybody. I'm not sure what Julie said. My name is Megan Fazio. I'm the Director of Strategic Communication at the university. I'm also known as COVID-19 at hartford.edu. So I've probably had the pleasure of working with some of you. I also work on a lot of the emails and messaging that goes out. So I'll be answering questions in the chat. And feel free to email me again at COVID-19. Thank you.
Thanks, Megan. Perfect. That was a better introduction that I gave for you. So Jill, I'm thinking that maybe we want to just get the ball rolling and, see how you want to get started until we get some questions going, and you can feel free to take it away.
Certainly. So I think, first of all, welcome to those that are returning to campus this spring and those that are new to campus this spring. In the chat, can people let us know if you are a parent, family, somebody that's just an important other to a student? If you are new to campus or if you're returning to campus, I think that would help us as we're answering questions. We're really excited in Residential Life as we kick off this semester. Been working really hard with our RDs and our RAs. Our RAs, or resident advisors, have been back for the last week and a half. They've been in training. They have also been prepping rooms, and they have gone through every single room on campus just to kind of peek in and make sure that they've not been occupied for 2 months and that things are ready for your student to arrive. We are eagerly awaiting doing some more programming this semester, especially virtual programming that first week and a half when we will have our campus quarantine, working very closely with our campus partners to do some more intimate events within our halls, meaning that we want students to be able to build connections with one another and really get to know their RAs. We're just looking forward to a very an exciting spring semester.
Thanks, Jill. So real quick, it looks like so far everybody who's answered are parents of returning students.
Okay.
I will tell you that you guys got a shout out. There is you were awesome in the planning of the first semester, so take it where you can get it. We love that. And also, I would like to, without further ado, ask Katie to introduce herself real quick too.
Can everyone hear me?
Yay!
You guys, it was so hard to get back in, and I'm so excited to be back finally. So anyway, thanks so much for coming, and you probably covered all of the important information already, but I'm Katie Kitchens. I work in the Center for Student Success, and then this semester I'm overseeing the university's testing strategy for COVID response. So that's why I'm here, probably of interest to all of you tonight.
Thank you so much, Katie. We missed you. We're glad you got back. So what I'd like to do, I'm just going to pop on over to our second slide. Spoiler alert, just so you all know, there's only 3 slides. So this just gives you a little bit more of a layout as to who everyone is. And then Jill, just so you know, the final slide is just the contact information for Res Life, should families or anyone need that after we are done. But I'm not sure where you all think it's best to get started. I can tell you that the first question is what happens after the first week when students want to leave campus on the weekends, and how will we be preserving, the bubble?
Jill, I don't know if you can start with that, and I'll follow up if you want.
Sure. So you did say me, right, Cass? Okay, sorry. We've been up since really early this morning. I wanted to double check. So in terms of leaving campus, we can't stop students from leaving campus, but we really want to impress upon all of our students. So if you are a family of a student, or if you are a student and joining us tonight, really to encourage you to stay on campus, have conversations with your roommates, apartment mates, suite mates, and really make a commitment to reduce the spread of COVID on our campus. It's going to be really important this semester with numbers a little bit higher out in the United States and really around the world, that we all just make some change a few of the things that we do. And if we are going off campus, make sure that we limit contact with anybody that is not part of our campus community. And then also just be very careful and vigilant when we are off campus, that we are social distancing, wearing masks, and not really engaging in behaviors that could put ourselves at risk as well as other people. The unusual thing with COVID-19 is that, some people get it, some people don't. And as much as we know about it, there are pieces that we don't know about it. And you can do all of the right things and get it. You can do all of the wrong things and not get it. And so we want to do all of the right things so that we can keep our numbers as low as possible, keep our students as safe as possible, our staff, our faculty on campus and have a great semester, which we did in the fall. So I am confident that our students will be able to do that again. So again, you can leave, but we're really going to discourage that. And Cass can talk a little bit about what it's going to look like when students come back onto campus. So I think that will also help decrease kind of the on and off. Cass?
Thanks, Jill. Yeah, I think kudos to this team right here. As Jill said, we've been up early morning and then out playing in the snow all day to set up traffic for the students returning to campus tomorrow. So we're dry and refreshed, I think. But so I'll give you some overview, I think, and we can ask questions if you have it. But just coming to campus, we really have a very strict practice in place for students for anybody coming to campus. So I just ran home from the office just now and I'm on my iPad, so it's navigating. I forgot my laptop because I was just navigating, just putting this policy out on returning to campus for my department. But it's an 8-page policy that and guidelines. So anybody coming to campus has to be, when I say authorized, with credentials. So students coming to campus will have a current sticker on their ID, a current sticker on their car. Faculty staff will have a current sticker on their car. Where visitors have to get pre-authorization to come to campus. So when they show up to campus, they have to show the officer at the entrance a authorization email that we approve for them for the day, date, and time. Vendors have to be pre-approved. So really nobody's coming to campus that is not authorized, if that makes sense. And that's being checked at our main entrance by our officers and student ambassadors. And that's the only entrance we have open to campus. If we open any of the other entrances to campus, they will be staffed and those same credentials will have to be presented at those entrances. Jill did mention that we're not, I say, policing essentially physically students leaving campus, but we're sending strong messages on reasons they should only leave campus. But getting back onto campus is the guidelines I just discussed. And I can go in further if you have questions on them. I may cover it now because it may come up. Spent a lot of time on triaging about food deliveries to campus and rides to campus for students. I just edited our policy that we're taking down that information. If a food delivery or I say Uber driver or someone comes to campus for that reason, they can only go to one place on campus to drop off food, Uber driver, taxi driver, whatever it may be, to pick up a student. We're going to get the information at the main entrance on why they're there, who they're there to pick up, and then log that in our log and make sure they essentially leave campus within 10 or 15 minutes, probably 10 minutes. We're not allowing students' friends to come to campus to drop them off or down in the residential side of area of campus. They have to drop them off close to the main entrance, and we'll get them a ride from there if they need it. But those restrictions are in place because the delivery drivers don't want to stay on campus, right? But don't really have to worry much about them wanting to leave. But friends sometimes may try to get into the dorms, and we have a strict policy in place for visitors. So I'll stop there unless people have questions on that, either live or in the chat.
Perfect, thank you. So Katie was able to address one question in the Q&A, but perhaps we might want to address it for everyone as well. There seems to be a couple of questions about students getting their first vaccine shot, needing to leave campus to get their second one, and how that will be addressed by us on campus, if at all.
I'm thinking you want that to be me again. Yes. So yes, vaccination is definitely one of the reasons why we would definitely allow a student to leave campus for that. We're all in this together. You got to keep those vaccine appointments, stay on the right schedule, and do what you need to do with that. So if you have a vaccine appointment that falls during quarantine, it's okay to leave campus, go get that vaccination, and return to campus, as long as, throughout the process, you're maintaining social distancing and wearing a mask and just following all of the other, COVID protocols.
Great. Katie, sticking with you, it seems too that there's a couple of questions about will there be any assistance if students are trying to look for their second dose in Connecticut, or do we have any anticipation whatsoever, and I'm not sure you know this answer, as to whether or not we would be doing any vaccines on campus by the end of the semester?
Yeah, so as far as what we would be able to do on campus during this semester, I can't give an answer to that. We just don't know yet what we may or may not be called upon by the state, to assist with. At this time, we have no plans to do vaccinations on campus this semester. And we're just waiting and taking it day by day along with the Department of Public Health. I mean, we are in extremely regular contact with the Department of Public Health. So it feels extreme some weeks, but they're wonderful people here in Connecticut. So we love working with them, and they, they're just going to keep us posted as far as when our students become eligible and then what assistance the university can provide in the vaccination effort. But we just don't know that yet.
And one more for you, Katie, or Kenna, perhaps, because I know you're both heavily involved with this. We have a question about what the testing will look like once the students are back on campus, what their process will be.
So we have entry testing for every student that arrives to campus. We will be testing them on site. And when you arrive to campus, there will be plenty of friendly faces and directionals. So we can direct you to the appropriate place for you to be entry tested to then process to your move-in assignment. So that's what Kaz was referring to today. We were all out in the snow doing a walkthrough on our own. It was fun. So that is the plan.
But we got the snow out of the way for you guys today. So during our move-in days, I think we'll be snow-free. But yes, for those of you who have been on campus before and are familiar with the surroundings, when you first come on campus, you'll go directly to parking lot B. That's right behind GSU, where you'll check in. That's where we're going to do the confirmation to make sure that you have submitted that pre-arrival test from no more than 7 days before moving into campus. That's the test you're submitting through self-service that our medical team is reviewing. Once you clear that parking lot and we verified that that test is on file, you'll be directed over to the testing site, which is going to happen in C-Lot. For those of you who are familiar with all of our parking lots, you'll head right down that ramp there and over into our testing center, where we will actually be doing it outdoors, but in tents. So, it should be a very quick process. It is a rapid test. You'll head into the testing tent. You'll be guided through the process by our medical team. And then once the actual swab part is completed, you'll head back to your car where you'll wait in a holding area to receive those results. And you'll get those results right on your phone through the Navica app. So if anybody has any questions about the Navica app, I know there's been some information that's gone out via email. Be happy to type more in the chat. Just make sure you have that downloaded before you come to campus. That's how you'll get your test results on that day. Once you've cleared that process and you've got your negative test result, you'll be able to head over to the residential side of campus over the bridge by FLOT. So we'll kind of snake you through the parking lots there to get everything accomplished, but we've run through it several times now. We've got it down, really efficiently, so we should be able to move people through very quickly.
Excellent. Thank you, Katie and Kenna. Jill, I think maybe we hop back on over to you. It looks like there's a couple of room change questions as well as shuttle to Target questions, if you want to jump on those for a minute.
So in terms of the shuttle, we will not have a shuttle running until February 8th when we come out of our kind of all campus quarantine. We've looked at some of the different things that students go into the community for, such as some of our students will celebrate Sabbath like at Chabad right off campus, our shuttle, other types of things where students would be taken off campus. And we have decided not to offer those the first week, to encourage students to create that campus bubble. But it will be up and running the next week. In terms of roommates, our assignments team, we have 2 people that are absolutely amazing. I think, Kenna and Kaz, as well as Katie, can attest that we have made some really significant changes to our housing program in the last couple of weeks. We have upgraded our system to allow students to sign up for move-in time slots and not have to use something like Sign Up Genius, which is sort of the stopgap or something that we've just done in the past because we didn't have this. And that has allowed us to link our testing results, days that students are allowed to come, send reminder messages and other things as well. We spend a lot of time on that. And then we've been spending a lot of time on just making sure that we have assigned our new students and responding to all of your emails. This is the time where we get lots and lots. So we are trying to get to room change requests as we are able. I will say almost all of these involve dominoes, meaning that somebody has to move into another space that was occupied or is currently occupied. And it's not as simple as it is at the beginning of the year to kind of switch around because nobody's in there. If we are unable to get to a room change before the semester starts, we will not be doing them during campus quarantine, but our hope is to really get caught up so that we can start to process those hopefully with after we're here for 2 weeks. Generally, we don't start room changes until at least the 10th day of class because we are trying to get an accurate count of who's here, and that takes a little bit of time before we start moving people around.
Excellent, thank you. So it looks like there's a question about upperclassmen who might be living off campus and taking hybrid classes. I'm not sure if the question is regarding testing or Katie, I don't know if you want to jump in, or Kenna, and try to.
I'll take a crack at it, at least where testing and quarantine is concerned. And then if that doesn't answer all the questions that this parent has in mind or the student has in mind, then please type more in the Q&A and we can get to more specifics. So students who are not residential, but who are taking classes on campus, or commuter student population, will be tested, as undergraduates will be tested every week, at least throughout the month of February. So that doesn't begin until those students are able to come on campus following that full campus quarantine. So our residential students are moving in this weekend. Per the Department of Public Health, we are required to do a full on-campus quarantine for those students that last through February 7th. And then February 8th, we can begin in-person classes and having commuter students come onto campus for those in-person classes. So all classes during that first week are fully remote for everybody, residential and commuter students. So then when we get into February 8th and February 9th, those are the earliest days that commuter students will be coming onto campus. You may have already received an email, and if you haven't, you'll be getting it really soon, with more information about that kind of arrival testing for our commuter students. So similar to how our residential students upon arrival are being tested through a rapid test, our commuters are going to go through a very similar process. So commuter students still have to submit that test, that PCR test, from 7 days prior. So if your first day on campus is February 8th, your PCR test date should be not before February 1st. If your first day on campus is February 9th, it should be not before February 2nd, right? So just counting backwards 7 days to make sure that you have that PCR test in at the right time. So when you get the email, you'll see the option to sign up for your first test time slot. That'll be on either February 8th or February 9th. And you'll sign up right through. I mean, it's a really easy form to fill out. If you've lived on campus before, then you are probably familiar with the Sign Up Genius site that we've used before for lots of coordinating with you all in the past. So you'll sign up for a testing time, and so that will be your first arrival on campus. You'll come in again snaked through these parking lots where you'll do a check-in to make sure we have that 7-day pre-arrival test, and then you'll proceed over to our rapid testing tent. So it's going to work very similarly for our commuter students. It's just going to work that way on February 8th and February 9th. Now, when you're signing up for your time slot to come in, get checked for that pre-arrival test and get your rapid test, choose a time that works around your classes, because that will continue to be your testing time slot every week for the rest of the month. So if you choose 3 o'clock on Monday, then we'll see you at 3 o'clock on Monday, February 8th, and then we'll see you every Monday after that at 3 o'clock for your regular weekly testing. So again, make sure that you're choosing a time that works with your classes. Usually for the weekly testing that we'll do after that first kind of move-in time, you're in and out in 15 minutes. For that very first time, there is going to be a little bit of a longer wait. So just build in a little bit of buffer time for yourself when you're choosing your testing time slot that you'll carry with you for each week. So, you know, I do know that our faculty, like, they're well aware, big testing plans going on this semester. So if you do need to be a little bit late, I think that's going to be just fine for testing related reasons in particular. They know, how seriously we're taking this, but that's just a note for you guys. That first time through, it will take longer than 15 minutes because you're waiting for that rapid result. That's going to take 15 minutes to result for you there. So already, just allow a little bit more time that first week. I hope that answers at least some of the questions about how that's going to work.
Perfect, thank you. Kenna, were you going to say something? I'm sorry.
No, and there was also, Katie, I think answered most of this, but there's a couple questions on the frequency of testing throughout the semester, and we are ramping up testing lots. For the month of February, we're testing everybody. So, and it may be more depending on what the state dictates to us as we progress throughout the semester. So I would prepare your student to be tested. Everyone's probably going to be tested once a week, 100% of the time for at least February.
Yeah, exactly. And so what we're saying at least February, because that's right now in our work with the Department of Public Health, that's what we're most concerned about, right? I mean, cases are high across the nation right now. We're hoping those cases are going to come down and we'll be able to do different things. We have so many different levers that we can pull to make sure that we're keeping an eye on COVID on campus, right? And one of those things is we can do this weekly surveillance testing. Last semester, we were incredibly successful at catching COVID cases through a smaller testing program that was kind of more strategic and combining that with our wastewater testing. So there's lots of different ways that we can make sure that we're keeping a handle on what might be happening on campus COVID wise. So even if we do scale back from everybody has to get tested every single week, per the Department of Public Health, and as case numbers in our area changes, doesn't mean we're not going to be keeping an eye on COVID, and taking that really seriously. I think we were incredibly successful throughout the fall semester with our 20 to 25% residential students that we were kind of targeting strategically and making sure we were working our way around campus and using our wastewater testing as a supplement. So we'll just continue to pull all of the levers that make the most sense given, the landscape of what COVID is doing in our area at that time.
Thank you to both of you. That was great. So back to, real quickly, there was a couple of questions about app names and things like that. Megan has also put a link in the chat for everyone that shows pre-arrival checklists, and it has the list of the apps and all the documents that you'll need. So certainly hop on over to the chat and you can see that link to make sure that you've got everything you need. And then there were a couple other questions regarding once students are back on campus. So Jill, I saw that you answered one. There was a question about whether or not a vaccinated parent can help students at move-in. And then there's also a question regarding, since we're trying to limit the movement of students on and off campus, does that mean they're going to be a little bit more free, yes or no, to move on campus?
So the first question in terms of movement on campus, given the numbers across the nation and really the world, we are going back to the policies that we used at the beginning of the fall semester. We were very successful in what we did in the fall, and we expect the same if everybody, continues to really be a part of these efforts, which our students were. They were very much on board in the, throughout the fall semester. So we are going to limit those movements. They're not going to be expanded just because we have a little bit more of a bubble because students are still going on and off campus. But we will monitor those numbers very carefully. I think everybody that's pretty much on this panel, we are in meetings all of the time together, oftentimes, many times every day, so much that I forget which meeting I was in with which people because, I just spent so much of my time with them. And we are constantly evaluating numbers. And as we are able, and, I'm hopeful, as the semester progresses, that we will be able to really look at our guest policies and see how we might be able to change that. Again, we want students to be able to connect with each other. I've spent a lot of time with my team looking for ways that RAs are going to be able to help students do that a little bit more virtually, which won't feel exactly the same, but we're going to really try to have more opportunities for that engagement, just in different ways while our numbers are a little bit higher. Back to the other question, I'm looking in terms of letting parents on campus if they've been vaccinated. Unfortunately, it is absolutely fantastic that you've been vaccinated. I'm very jealous. Hopefully, we'll be able to do that soon too. But it would be hard to mark you as having a vaccination. You don't get, a button that says I've been vaccinated and, that we approve and all of these things. And because we wouldn't be able to identify one parent that has and one parent that hasn't, and even, the guidance that we're hearing is even if you've been vaccinated, you still need to wear a mask. And, while all of us are, kind of raising our immunity, we are not allowing that to happen at this time. So we're sorry about that. It's something that, we hope in the fall it will look very different. because we don't want to deprive you of that opportunity, but we need to think about safety of our students first. And right now we can't do that.
Jill, can you there was one more that just popped in while you were speaking. Can you just clarify what a parent will be allowed to do? So they're asking will they be able to drive them to a designated area and like help in a parking lot, or do they have to remain in their car the whole time?
Absolutely. So when you finish in Lot D and you get that green screen that basically says that your next test was negative, you will get to proceed to the residential area. If you are dropping off your student, you will have approximately 15 minutes to unload in the spots that are directly in front of those buildings. Please don't stay there any longer than 15 minutes so that everybody can have the advantage of having their car nice and close to unload. And then in terms of what parents can do, you can exit your car, but we are saying that you can't go into any of our spaces onto campus. If you do need to use the restroom, we'll have a space that's designated for that. But again, we're trying to limit the contact that our students have with people outside of their household. And, the reality is, even if roommates are living together, they haven't had contact with other household members within that family unit. So we're just not allowing that right now. In terms of what parents can do, you can help carry things right up to the edge of the door. You can, spend a few minutes with your student, if you want to take a short walk on campus, or, hugs and kisses, all of that good stuff. But the contact just stops once you reach the residence hall door, the entrance to that particular building. We ask that you stay outside.
One more follow-up, Jill, I apologize.
Okay.
So what about if they have friends that are already on campus, can those friends help them with moving?
If those friends that they also live in that same building. So if you happen to live, your student is in Park River and another student from Park River wants to assist, that is just fine. Absolutely, they can, in public areas, assist students. Now, when they reach their individual room, those individuals will not be able to enter that specific room, meaning suite or apartment, unless they are actually assigned to that suite or apartment. But they can certainly help in the hallways, and we would encourage that. We want people to help each other out. And in general, I think our students are wonderful with each other. I'm always just amazed at how warm and friendly and people are here to really, willing to help with people they don't even know. So I would say if, a student needs some assistance, kind of look around. And if you haven't met somebody, I'd say, can you help me out for a few minutes? I need some assistance, taking this up to my room, something along those lines, and, get to know people that you may not have met previously. I see that can more than one parent help with the unloading. We are asking, if at all possible, to only have one parent accompany students to campus unless you happen to be a new to housing student. The new to housing students are allowed to have up to 2 members of their current household come, and one person can be in the building with them to help them unload. But these are students that are completely new to UHeart for this semester, were not with us in the fall, and what they're bringing back will look a little bit different. I do know that we've received a couple of requests, students, families that are driving from long distances, and they're like, we just can't do it with one person. It's 9 hours one way. We're hoping to go back, that same night. That's a long time in the car. I've done that 9 hours. I completely get it. If you absolutely need to bring 2 people, sure. But again, remember, people can't go into the residence halls. It's very limited in terms of your movement on campus. You won't be able to go into Commons either, or into Conover to the store. Into Conover just to use restrooms. But, we're asking that, we keep that movement on campus as small as possible, again, to start that bubble.
Excellent. Thank you so much. I do want to also let you all know that there was another shout out in that you are easing a lot of anxieties with the changes in testing and the frequency at which with students will be tested. So props for that. Families are excited about that. Great job. There's a question, and Katie, I'm not sure, perhaps you or I might be able to address this, but and again, I'm not positive what the question is, but it's about a student who might be in a video production course do we think that that sort of course should be postponed, or are they going to have access to things that would be shared, like a camera and things like that?
I was hoping you'd call on me for this one, Julie, because I was seeing it in the chat and I really wanted to respond. So the first week of classes is when there will be this campus quarantine, and access to those academic buildings is going to be restricted. I think everybody all of our instructors have modified their courses in whatever way they need to modify them to make sure that students can complete the requirements of a course that they're taking this semester on campus. So, I don't know the specifics of the video production class that was referenced, but if students are going to need materials in order to complete that class, then the instructor has ways that the students are going to be able to access those materials. And maybe it's going to look different than usual. Maybe usually you'd be able to put 12 people in a room and they'd all be able to share all the equipment all the time. Obviously, that's not the way that would work this semester, right? They're probably going to be more appointment based, have signups. Anytime there's going to be shared materials, things look different this semester, but I wouldn't necessarily postpone any specific classes for this semester. Maybe you just want to take different things at different times. That's up to you. But I think materials wise, if the course is being offered, then the student's going to be able to access what they need for the course.
Absolutely. Thank you, Katie. And I can jump in for 1 second and just say, from a College of Engineering, Technology, and Architecture standpoint, one of those examples is a lot of our students have to take a safety course in the wood shop. What the department chair has decided to do for this year is being postponed as a half semester course. So it won't even begin until March, and it would be the end of the semester. And what they'll do is reevaluate between now and then that they feel as though they can make all those requirements and have everybody in the shop and doing what they need to be. And if they can, it'll be the limited numbers, the signups, things such as that. So again, just to reinforce that department chairs, deans are making sure that they're factoring in all the different regulations to make sure that curriculum requirements are met, but that all the rules and regulations are being followed as well. One light one that I think any one of you can jump on is, somebody would like to know how much snow we got today.
Kaz?
Of course, because I got to make the call at 5 in the morning on when we open, right? I don't know. We were soaking wet when we came in about 4 o'clock, but it's still snowing here. So we're supposed to get 2 to 4 inches. We're hoping for 2, but I think there's already 2 on the ground. So keep your fingers crossed, right?
I think it's 2 on the ground right now. I just looked out my window. It's not bad. I mean, I drove home in it. It's really okay.
We'll have it cleared for tomorrow.
For sure.
Right. Okay, next question. Will the bookstore be accessible during that first quarantine week?
Yes, the bookstore will be open, and social distancing, and all the regular COVID protocols will be enforced. But the bookstore is one of those campus spaces that will be open and accessible for students during quarantine.
Okay, perfect. Excellent. Sorry, I was reading a question and didn't realize you were done.
It was a really short yes.
My apologies. Okay. Let's see. There's one about the library. When will students be able to go into the library and use it as a study space? And I'm gathering again that is post-quarantine week?
Yes, so the library is going to be operating on just a little bit of a different schedule. And Megan actually might be responding to this one right now. So I'll see, she has all of the details and she can post links and everything to all of the hours and instructions for how to use spaces. But we want our students to be in the library, and the library wants our students to be in the library. So that will be happening. It's just, a matter of kind of how we're making that happen safely, and when it's going to be more limited versus ramped up, post quarantine.
Excellent. Yes, she reinforced your answer by saying during quarantine week, there's appointments that need to be set up. So there you go. Kaz, there is an Uber question regarding drop-off procedures by Uber for a student who may have to come from the airport.
I think you're talking about during the move-in process, if that's true. Then, if they're coming in an Uber from the airport, they're going to follow the same procedure as everyone else. We're going to get them through the main entrance. into our first parking lot, that it should be pretty quick, right, team? Into the first parking lot to do the physical check-in and see if they have their tests submitted and get a sticker on your ID. And then they have the option, another parking lot is where the testing is taking place. So they will have an option at that point to either have the Uber proceed through the next process for the testing, or we have a special parking lot that is designated and signed for any students that are traveling by Uber taxi to get dropped off in this parking lot. If they choose to do that, they can bring their stuff with them. The Uber or taxi can leave, or whatever transportation they have. And we walked this space today, this team, and set up a process for them if they're doing that. So they'll be escorted into a building. In the building, one of the volunteers will let the testing site know that we have someone that needs to be tested that was in the Uber or taxi. They'll physically be walked down to the testing tent, get their testing done, go back up to this building to wait for the results, and then if they're safe then to move on to the dormitory, we'll get them, we have several transportation options at that point to transport them from golf carts and all kinds of equipment that we'll get them transported over to the dorm where they're going. I hope that answers it for you.
And just in case you weren't taking copious notes during that, the takeaway is we've got a good plan for you. So, we're going to guide you every step of the way.
Okay.
I mean, I think it's great that they now know what to expect.
Yes,
Every
Katie,
shot, every move, you're good.
Please.
But rest assured, if you can't remember everything Kaz just said, we've got you covered.
We got you covered.
We'll walk you through it.
It's
For
like
sure.
Allstate or something, right? Is that what we're saying?
You're
I
in
don't
good
know.
hands.
Okay.
You're in good hands.
I don't know if you could all tell that they've spent an awful lot of time together, this
A
group,
lot.
So much
Yeah.
time.
making sure that everything goes without a problem. So you can
Man.
see they are all on the same page.
Hope no one's traveling by drone. We don't have that plan in place. If you're traveling by drone, it's the only plan we don't have, I think.
Well, here's another light question. What's going to be our policy in terms of sending students packages? Is there any issue with that?
Students love packages. It's one of those things that, they love packages, they love cards, they love anything that comes in the real mail. And I would highly encourage you, even if you send a letter, stick, some money in there or something that's just a little bit fun that they're not expecting. They absolutely love it. So please send lots and lots of packages. Amazon has been our friend. Other companies have been our friend since we are in this virtual world. It's a very safe way to shop.
Perfect, Jill. Thank you. I like the extra tip there, making sure they send a little extra money too. That's great.
Mm-hmm. Who doesn't love a little, a little bit of money stuck in their, their card? And my grandfather used to do that growing up. And I will say my parents still do it for me. And I still appreciate occasionally that little surprise. So students really
I'm going to say it to this team, Jill. Why don't you guys just send me packages and stop sending me email? How about that?
You guys, Julie sent me a cookie right before the holidays, and it was like the happiest day.
See, it's the happiest day of your life. It's cookie. All right, I'll stop joking. I'm not.
Hey, it's okay. We're getting the job done, right?
Well, and just to say, it was Kaz's birthday yesterday. So, we should all send Kaz cake, right?
Happy birthday, Kaz.
See, cheers, cheers, cheers.
All right, let's see. It looks like, Jill, you've been great as well, hopping on and answering these in the Q&A. So I see a lot of the drop-off questions have been answered again. That's wonderful. Let's see. We've got one more. Katie, I may need to read this one to make sure I get it correct. I'm understanding the student gets the PCR prior to coming to campus, and then upon check-in, they are taking a rapid test, waiting for results, and then proceeding to move in?
That is exactly right. Yes. So the test that needs to be submitted for pre-arrival has to be a PCR test. Then once they come on campus, so that we can grab a large population of students with one more, surveillance test, we are using the rapid test at that time. The follow-up test will be some combination of rapid some days, PCR other days, again, just depending on our overall testing strategy. We have, like I said, lots of levers that we can pull depending on the week and the situation. So that does very accurately describe the move-in, check-in process.
Okay, perfect. I just wanted to make sure I read that correctly to make sure we got all the details down. Looks like there is one other drop-off question that Jill has just answered, so we are all set there. If there's anything-
Julie, I was seeing a question, sorry, about like signing up or like how students will be choosing those testing time slots and all of that. So, and I know this can be confusing because there's so many different groups of students to juggle and so many different ways that we're testing them. So what I described before about the first time you get will always be the time you get, that was related to commuter students. So when they sign up for that first time slot, February 8th and 9th, that's their regular testing time slot. So if you're a commuter student, that's what you want to be paying attention to. Residential students, because we're doing this in so many different phases, it's going to work a little bit differently. The move-in time slot that you've selected is not your weekly testing time slot. So if you're moving in on Saturday at 10 a.m., I will not see you Saturday at 10 a.m. ever again this semester for testing. So what you'll do is for that first week with the quarantine week, the testing strategy that we're using is a little bit different than what we'll use in future weeks. I will assign you a testing time for that first week. And faculty know that this is something that you will not have a say over, because you'll have to come at the same time as the other people that you live with. So I'll assign you that time. You'll get those assignments on Friday of this week. We know you're getting a lot of information right now about move-in and all these logistics and everything. So just keep an eye out for that. On Friday, you're going to get your assigned time for that first week of testing. Then following that first week of testing, so our last day of that will be Thursday, February 4th in that first week. Then I will send out the signups for all future weeks for residential students. So in every subsequent week, like after that first week of quarantine, residential students will also get an option for when they have their testing, and it'll maintain that same time slot every week after that. So I hope that helps to clarify. I know it's a lot to keep track of, believe me, but we think that, it's the best way to get all of the right testing done and make sure it's the easiest for our students so that you can get, what you need in addition to us getting the testing done that we need to do.
You just jinxed yourself, Katie, that you won't be there on a Saturday ever.
You're probably right.
Just jinx yourself. I've been there.
Why don't you stop me before I say these things?
Katie, one more for you. There's a question about the testing for faculty and staff, if any.
So our faculty staff have different testing options for them. So we are offering free testing on a more limited basis for faculty and staff, which mainly is a result of the fact that, we now know, especially after our first semester and all of the contact tracing efforts that went on at the University of Hartford and outside the University of Hartford, that classroom transmission is not really a factor. So we did not detect classroom spread of COVID. So we're not as concerned about our faculty staff in relation to the students. But again, they're people who we love and care about and want to make sure that they get access to the testing that they need. So we have a different strategy that we're deploying for faculty and staff, but it's not once a week.
I think if I could just add on to that, I didn't talk about it, and maybe everyone knows, but maybe questions about it. But part of the entry to campus I didn't cover, and part of thinking about faculty staff is we do have a LiveSafe app that we do that sets off a whole bunch of this team's efforts and work. But the LiveSafe app, everyone's going to be required that's coming to campus and that's on campus. Everyone's required to screen in their health screening, do a health screening every day on the LiveSafe app. So when students, faculty, staff coming to campus every day, they're going to have to physically show the officer at the main entrance the screening, excuse me, with a green check mark and the date that they did this health screening. So that's going to be checked when you come to campus. If you check in and don't get the green X, a green check mark, you're getting a red X that says you're not healthy or not. There's some trigger, something that set off something that in the screening process that needs to be looked at further, sets up a whole that's then sent to our contact tracing team. The contact tracing nurses start that whole chain of events. So I won't go into all of that just because of time, unless you have a question about it. But I think it's important to, number one, to know about, number two, let you know we're screening for that when people are coming on campus, and that's checked every day. But it sets off a whole chain of contact tracing and stuff for anybody that screens in with a concern. So.
Excellent. Thank you, Kaz. I am just scrolling through. I went back all the way to the beginning to make sure we didn't miss any questions, but it certainly looks like we have done a good job catching all of those. And I thank all of you. Thank you, Megan, and each and every one of you who have hopped in and answered these, so they're getting them verbally and in writing. I'm just scrolling through one more time towards the end here to make sure we didn't miss anything. Nope. So we are at the end of our questions that have been listed. So I checked both the chat and the Q&A, and we have addressed all the questions. Like I said, everything was addressed verbally, and most of you were able to go back and put the answers in writing as well. So families should have it both ways to make sure that things were addressed. Do each of you have, we're close to the end of time here. Do each of you have anything that you feel like you need to round out the evening with?
So I was just going to say that, one of the things that we frequently hear in our office is that, what do you do on the weekends? Are you open? We have a question. It's 4:30. So I just wanted to let students and families know that our office, the Res Life office, will be staffed 8:30 a.m. until 8 p.m. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday of this week, because we realize you're going to have questions and that you're going to want answers. Please be aware that during normal business hours, we will have more professional staff also in the office able to respond more quickly to questions, but we will have additional staff in the evenings, and we have trained our student leaders that work with us to contact other staff members if need be. We also have people like Kenna and Katie that will be peeking in at that email as well, looking for if there are any messages from parents that are having travel issues the day of their move-in, around their move-in time, something just hasn't gone the way that they expected. So if you have questions, please reach out. Also, please be aware that as much as we try to respond quickly, sometimes that doesn't happen in 20 minutes, or if we don't answer the phone, it's probably because we're on the phone. So, please try again, but we will certainly have people working this weekend to be able to respond.
Thank you, Jill. Kaz or Katie or Kenna?
I just like to say, certainly this is certainly not the way we want campus life to be, right? But it's the way it is, and it's not beyond any of our control. But I speak as a parent and as a administrator at the university. But as a parent, I made my kids are in one finished grad school, one's in grad school, but I told them you got to go to campus, enjoy the campus life, and they went through that and made best friends and in their weddings and family and everything, right? So it's not the way we want campus to be right now, but it's the way it is. And last semester, kudos to this team and everyone at the university. The governor recognized us for being essentially one of the safest campus in the state because of the way we have things, right? And we want people to be healthy and safe, and we don't want anyone to get sick, bring anything home, and get anyone sick at home. This is serious. So certainly not the way we want it to be, but we are strict for a reason, and because this is serious, right? So looking out for the health and safety of everyone, want everyone to be healthy and safe. But again, it's not the way we want it to be, but it's the way it is because we want you to be healthy. So please bear with us to be strict on these guidelines and help us do that as a campus. I tell the campus all the time, it's not my department that keeps the campus safe, it's our community that keeps us safe. So let's do it together to keep us safe health-wise as well.
Well, thank you, Kaz. And I think too, we can round out with Sean was kind enough to say, thank you all for everything you're doing. And you've done great this year. You guys rock. So I think each and every one of you up on top there deserve that today and for everything you've done. I get to see behind the scenes and I know what you guys have all been through, especially for the last month. And I think you are doing a great job. And I think our families appreciate everything you guys are doing. Kenna also wanted to say thank you to everyone. Unfortunately, she's having a camera issue, so she says thank you all for attending. And Kenna, thank you for being here as well. So I think unless anybody has anything else, Megan, thank you for answering all of your questions. All of our panelists, thank you so much for your time tonight. And families, thank you so much for joining us and giving us your time as well this evening.
Okay, bye-bye. Be safe.
Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.